was an inside job. No question about it. It was an inside job. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, explosive show for you today. In the wake now of so much more information that has come out in the wake of the second assassination attempt against President Donald J. Trump. Here is now the absolute latest, my friends. The Trump family now is convinced, absolutely convinced, that there is a mole, that there is some kind of a leaker inside, whether it be the Secret Service, whether it be the Department of Homeland Security, which controls the Secret Service, whether it is someone within the FBI, someone within Trump's inner circle, somewhere there is now, without a shadow of a doubt, someone who wants the president dead. There's now no getting around it. And what we have now learned is the following. According now to federal prosecutors, they now say that Ryan Ruth, the would-be assassin, lay at the golf club behind the fence where he was attempting to assassinate the president for 12 hours. 12 hours. He went to that part of the golf club with a clear line of sight to Trump, who was going to be golfing the next day. And he set up a sniper's nest. He then hid in that nest and patiently waited for 12 hours in order to kill and assassinate Donald Trump. According to federal prosecutors, I'm going to give you exactly what they said. They said when they tracked his cell phone and they pinged it at 1:59 in the morning, so technically it was Sunday morning, that's when he set himself up at that area outside the fence, right near the sixth hole of the links on the south side of the West Palm Beach Golf Club. He had his AK-47 style rifle, his scope, his GoPro digital camera to record him. He was set up, he hid there, and he waited until about 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. He then saw Secret Service agents approaching the hole. The president was walking between the fifth and the sixth hole. He now realized his moment was coming. Trump was getting closer and closer and closer, and he had him dead in the crosshairs. His fatal mistake was that he went too early and put the rifle of his gun through the fence. And by the grace of God, and I'm telling you, it is now the grace of God. In fact, Trump did an interview on X last night where he himself, and I'm going to play the cut, now says he believes God saved him. He is now convinced. He said, believes God saved him in Butler, Pennsylvania. He said God definitely saved him Sunday in Florida at the golf course. And by the grace of God, the Secret Service agent spotted the rifle, spotted the muzzle of the gun. This man is a hero. Whoever that person is a hero. And then apparently shot 4 times in the direction of Ryan Ruth. Ruth dropped his gun and drove away. Now, what we've also learned, I just want to add a very quick piece of information before I get to the actual meat of the monologue. What we've now learned is that the witness who spotted Ryan Ruth, and she's also a hero, is a woman. It was assumed it was a man. It was a woman. She spotted Ryan Ruth. She had a great presence of mind, the wherewithal to take a picture of him with her phone. So she got his complete identity. She then got a picture of his car and the picture of his license plates, and apparently they were stolen tags. So he was driving with stolen license plates. But the fact is, she got a picture of him. She got a picture of his black Nissan. She got a picture of his stolen license plates. And then she immediately contacted 911. And the police say, had it not been for her, this person would have gotten away. So let me repeat this. had it not been for a witness on the scene who had the brilliant presence of mind to take a picture of him as he fled to his car and got his identity, got his face, got his car, got his license plate, he would have gotten away. He would have escaped. He would have escaped. Now, the question that the Trump family is asking, and I agree with them, not 100, but 1,000%. How the hell did Ryan Ruth know several things? Trump's schedule was not made public. As I said yesterday on X, nobody knew what Trump was going to be doing on Sunday. Was he going to be campaigning? If he was going to be taking the day off, what was he going to be doing? If he was going to be golfing, he goes to many different golf courses. Which golf courses would he go to? What time? I could go on and on. So, how did he know that Trump was A, going to be golfing that day in the early afternoon? Nobody except a select few people knew it. B, that he would be golfing at the West Palm Beach Golf Club at that particular link. There are multiple courses. Why that course? How did he know that? And at that particular time. Now, there's only two conclusions. Either this is the luckiest man on the face of the earth, that he just shows up, la-da-da, la-da-da, with his AK-47 rifle. By the way, the serial numbers partially scratched off. So this was premeditated. This guy planned this intricately. He made sure there were no serial numbers on his gun. He made sure he had stolen tags. He made sure he was going to be able to get a getaway. He was going to make sure that nothing led back to him. So this is a man who methodically planned this assassination attempt. He sat there for 12 hours, hiding in his sniper's nest that he created. So either we're looking at a 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot in terms of luck, which I don't believe. I'll be honest with you, I don't believe it. Or B, the most likely outcome, there's a mole. There's a leaker. It was an inside job. Now, as I said on X, and I'm going to say it again, it is now crystal clear that there are elements within the Department of Homeland Security who oversee the Secret Service. There are clearly now elements within the FBI who despise Trump, who fear that should he come back to power, they, members of Homeland Security, the leadership, are going to be not just fired, but many of them are going to be facing serious jail time for all of the corruption and abuses of power. They cannot allow this man to come back. They cannot. Their careers, their security, their freedom, everything, their power rests on Trump going down in November or killing him before the November election. And let me state the obvious now. It is remarkable to me that every time Trump wins a debate, there is quickly an assassination attempt. He cleaned Joe Biden's clock, and all of a sudden, Butler, Pennsylvania takes place. He defeats Kamala Harris. Whatever you think about his stylistic performance, the polls show he won that debate. Independents, undecideds are swinging to Trump 2-1. And then, again, another assassination attempt. So what is obvious to me is that every time Trump wins a debate, they try to kill him. And the reason why is they now realize they can't beat him at the ballot box. They just can't. And so now, in order to save democracy, they have to murder and assassinate the leading presidential candidate. Listen now to Eric Trump. Eric Trump was on with Megyn Kelly, and it was a remarkable interview. In fact, you know what? I'm going to play it on the other side. I don't want to rush it. But he basically, I mean, he spilled his heart out, saying they're not going to stop. They tried to impeach my father. They tried to take my father off the ballot. They've tried to bankrupt my father and us. They tried now to imprison my father. And every time, everything they've tried has failed. They're now resorting to the ultimate plan B, which is now to kill him. And as Eric Trump said, they will not stop. In fact, Eric Trump said months before Butler, Pennsylvania, I warned. I said everything else has failed up to this point. I said, watch, they're now going to try to kill my father. And then Butler took place. And then Biden fell out of the race. And now they see Kamala sinking in the polls. And they tried to kill him again. Eric Trump now believes there will be a third assassination attempt. I've got that cut. Your reaction next. 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, listen now to Eric Trump. This was on Megyn Kelly's podcast. Roll cut 22, Mike.
I just want everybody to understand they are trying to kill him, Megyn. They are trying to kill him. And it's one of the things that drives me crazy when you see Kamala on the debate stage. You know, this man's a threat to democracy. It's, you know, there's only one person that they're going after, and they're going after him viciously. And they've gone after him in every single way. They've gone after him illegally. They tried to impeach him. They tried to take him off the ballot in states. They tried to take him off the ballot in Colorado and Maine. They've gone after his family. They've gone after all of us thousands of times. You know, Megyn, I'm probably the most subpoenaed person in the history of the country, and I've never done a damn thing wrong. They've done everything they could. They've weaponized, you know, the judicial system, DAs, AGs. They've gone after him civilly. And now twice in 5 weeks, as we approach 50 days, you know, away from election day, they've tried to kill him. And they will stop at absolutely nothing. They are trying to kill him, Megyn, and it's deeply scary. And, you know, we government better do a good job protecting him. And, you know, sometimes I worry that they're not.
Of course they're not. I mean, that's the big story. Look, the Secret Service agent is a hero, and there's no question about it. And that female witness is another one, an incredible hero. And Trump even pointed this out in his interview on X yesterday, saying, think of the presence of mind. Think of how, you know, brave this woman was, and the wherewithal that she had to sense there was serious danger. She heard shots. She sees this guy fleeing. And she takes a picture of him. She takes a picture of the car, his stolen tags that he had on his car. She's the one that gave all the information to the police. That's why they were able to get him 45 minutes later and arrest him on I-95. So, you know, there are two remarkable heroes here. But I'm telling you right now, the big story is, why was there no Secret Service at the perimeter? Why were there no security dogs? It doesn't take much, a couple of security dogs, and you start going through the hedges, you go through the bushes, you go out beyond the fences, that's what you do, and you make sure that everything is secure. To me, look, there is a pattern here, an obvious pattern that strikes everybody. Okay, so it almost slaps you in the face. In the first assassination in Butler, law enforcement and the Secret Service were supposed to have security on the roof. There was no security on the roof. They were supposed to have security on the perimeter. There was no security on the perimeter. They left the president vulnerable and a sitting duck. Now it happens again? Again? They left the president a sitting duck. And to me, what's incredible is that you have the head of the Secret Service now coming out, or the acting director, and he comes out yesterday and he's patting himself on the back. He's patting the Secret Service on the back. I'm not kidding. This was a success. That's it. We did it. We've saved our reputation. This was a great success. This was a success? That Ryan Ruth was able to create a sniper's nest and hide there for 12 hours undetected? Right there at the fence? Overlooking the sixth hole with an AK-47 and a scope? And nobody spotted him? And then he's got the muzzle of the gun. He's got it through the fence. Had that Secret Service agent not spotted the gun, Trump is a dead man. He's dead. It's over. Good night, Irene. We're mourning. This is another John F. Kennedy. We're mourning now another killed president, another dead president, or in this case, former president. And you guys are going on. This is a success. Why was there no security on the perimeter? It doesn't cost much. Believe me, a couple of security dogs and a couple extra agents. We're not talking $100 billion here. Something is going on. The president is being set up. There's no question now. They're setting Trump up. Listen now. This is the sheriff of Martin County. A different sheriff than Rick Bradshaw, who I played yesterday. This is Will Snyder, Martin County, Florida sheriff at a press conference. Listen to what he says. He's saying, look, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. The Trump family is right. They're out to get him. There's an inside mole. There's an insider leaking information, and they're trying to take Trump out. Roll cut 29. Mike.
Did he have any, to your knowledge, any ties to Martin County or the Fraser Coast?
Yeah, to my knowledge, does he have any ties to Martin County? I think the answer, to my knowledge, the answer is no, I have no knowledge. I think what we're finding out, he's not from this area, which of course raises the bigger question is, how does a guy from not here get all the way to Trump International, realize that the president, former president of the United States, is golfing and is able to get a rifle in that vicinity? I think that's the question the FBI, the Secret Service are laser focused on today. Is this guy part of a conspiracy? Is he a lone gunman? If he's a lone gunman, President Trump is that much safer because we have him. But if he's part of a conspiracy, then this whole thing really takes on a very ominous tone.
Of course it's a conspiracy. Once it's a coincidence, okay, which I didn't buy it the first time, but fine. But now twice? No. No, I'm sorry. No, it's obvious. It's obvious. Now, let me just play this cut very quickly. Joe Biden was asked in front of Marine One. Apparently he called President Trump. They spoke. You know what? I don't want to rush it. I'll play it on the other side. Then I promise the lines are loaded. I'm going to take all of your calls. He made a phone call to President Trump. Apparently it was an amicable call. They spoke for a couple of minutes. Biden wanted to see how's he doing? Is he okay? And President Trump was graceful, very gracious, and said, hey, I'm fine. Thanks for the call. Personally, I would have said to him, stop calling me a dictator in waiting. Stop calling me Hitler. You're going to get me killed. You're calling me after trying to get me killed? Are you serious? But that's me. Joe Biden gives an absolutely outrageous answer to the question of more Secret Service protection for Trump. I've got that. Your calls. 6:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I'm going to play Joe Biden in just 1 second, but many of you on Messenger and on the text line, 70470. 70470. And of course, you can always email the Kuhner Man, but on Messenger and on the text line, many of you are making this point, and I think it's a brilliant observation. You're saying, Jeff. Notice 2 assassination attempts now, and no one on the left is calling for a ban on assault weapons. Notice that's their default, always gun control, assault weapons ban. But you notice, after Butler, nothing. after now West Palm Beach? Nothing. Very curious. Very, as I like to say, interesting. Very, very interesting. Because it's obvious. Now they like assault weapons. If you'll kill Donald Trump with it, go ahead. Have all the assault weapons you want. Now, this to me, you want to talk about outrageous and frankly sickening. Joe Biden is in front of Marine One. And he's asked, what do you make of the second assassination attempt on Trump? And of course, Republicans, Trump, everybody's asking for full Secret Service protection. In other words, give him the same protection, the same amount of security that you, a sitting president, or Kamala Harris, a sitting vice president, has. In other words, secure the perimeter. Give him enough dogs and extra personnel to secure all of the surrounding area. Listen to Biden's response. Roll cut 10, Mike.
The president's okay. I think we got a full report so far. We're down there tonight. But one thing I want to make clear, the service needs more help. And I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they in fact need more services. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Are you concerned more money in this environment? They need more personnel. They need more money. What kind of help do you think?
I think we need some more personnel. I think they're deciding whether they need more personnel or not.
Are you concerned?
The Secret Service needs more help. This is his answer now. And they may need to decide if they need more money or more help. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? The Secret Service needs to decide? As if he has no control over this. You're the Secret Service. You're the President of the United States. They answer to Mayorkas, the head of Department of Homeland Security. Mayorkas answers to you. You could, with the snap of your finger, say, what do you need? An extra $1 billion? Or whatever, an extra 500 million, an extra $1 billion? Give it to him. And give him the extra security and the extra guard dogs that he needs. Secure the perimeter the way my perimeter is secured, or Kamala's perimeter is secured, or when Obama is golfing, his perimeter is secured. He gets full Secret Service protection. They give him guard dogs, extra personnel, not just Secret Service agents on the course, but right along the security perimeter. No, it's not the Secret Service to decide. You make the decision. You could do this in 2 seconds with the stroke of a pen. You phony, you fraud, you. No, the dirty secret is they want Trump dead. What better way to defeat your opposition than to have him killed? You can't beat him at the ballot box. You can't beat him in November. So kill him. That's the Democrat way now. Now, just one last final point, and I want to give a big hat tip to Mike, our assistant producer. So Mike is a bit of he's a golfer. He likes to play golf with his buddies. He's quite good at it. Frankly, not as good as I am, but that's okay. I mean, not as many people are as good at golf as the Kuhner man, but let that go. I'm joking. I never play golf. I'm just teasing him. I suck at golf. I think I played twice in my life and I suck. But anyway, the point is he's a very good golfer and Mike likes to play golf and he knows golf. He showed me the layout with drone footage now. You can get the layout of that West Palm Beach golf club and the golf course. And in fact, you can see the fifth hole and the sixth hole where Trump was. He had finished the fifth hole, or he was about to finish the fifth hole, and he was going to walk to the sixth hole. And then Mike even showed me, he goes, look, Jeff, you can pretty much tell when Trump hits the ball on the sixth hole, his drive, the first time he strikes the ball, relatively where the ball is going to land. It was right near the hedges, right near the bush where Ryan Ruth was sitting in his sniper's nest. And as Mike pointed out to me, he goes, Jeff, It would have been a clear, clean shot. He would have blown Trump's head off. It would have been a layup. It would have been a layup. All Trump had to do was go to that sixth hole, hit that drive, walk whatever, 100 yards or whatever it is. And as he walked to hit the ball again, I'm talking 100 yards away, if that. And it would have been boom, boom, boom. And Trump is dead. Trump is absolutely dead. This was a failure on the part of the larger Secret Service. Not that one agent, obviously, who spotted the muzzle, spotted the gun. But overall, this was a massive failure of security again. They want him dead, and there's a mole, and there's a leaker. And they better find that leaker, because I'm telling you, as Eric Trump said himself, they will try to kill my father again. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Agree, disagree. David in Boston. You're going to kick us off, David. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
My pleasure.
I just want to make a few points before I get back to work here. One, I believe DHS is now in charge of Trump security.
Yes.
Two, how did MSNBC know Trump was going to be there filming him golf? Do they want to catch this on film and put it all over the world? And three, now they're finding out that funds were transferred between the PA shooter on a bank account. So there's just a lot of questions here going on. Definitely this was a setup, 100%. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, David, now there's no question. I mean, the evidence is now irrefutable. It really is. It's irrefutable. No, and we're finding out now even more. Ryan Ruth apparently had a rap sheet as long as my arm. He had apparently a shootout or standoff. Forgive me, my bad. He had a standoff with police in North Carolina. And after the standoff, they arrested him. Apparently he was a convicted felon, possessing a concealed weapon. And then he had another, they got him also for possessing a weapon of mass destruction. And you're going to say, Jeff, what weapon of mass destruction? The guy had a fully automatic machine gun. Had a fully automatic machine gun. And so first of all, you're asking yourself, how is this guy walking the streets? Nothing. He just fell right through the cracks. And then he ends up going to Ukraine. And there is where he hooks up with the CIA. And this, by the way, to show you how bizarre this whole thing is, Ruth was in fact the main person profiled, and really this bizarre profile in the New York Times about a year ago. How he was trying with the CIA to get Afghan fighters, Taliban fighters, to come to Ukraine and fight against the Russians. So he wanted to team up Taliban fighters with Ukrainian fighters to wage some kind of a holy war against Vladimir Putin. And the New York Times did this huge puff piece on him. How this guy is working with the CIA to traffic these fighters, to traffic weapons, to put together all these foreign mercenaries and volunteers to create this massive army in order to overthrow Vladimir Putin. And by the way, he was ranting and raving that he wants to kill Putin. And how do you kill Putin? You kill Trump. Because apparently Trump is Putin's stooge. And all of this was being fed to him by the Democrats, the CIA, and the media. So you want to win the war in Ukraine? In fact, he by the way, he self-published a book. You can't make this stuff up. In February of 2023, he self-publishes a book. The title, Ukraine's Unwinnable War. And his argument is you need to kill Donald Trump. In the book, you have to kill Donald Trump. Because Trump-Russia collusion. Trump is a stooge, an agent of Putin. So to hurt Putin, kill Trump. So the New York Times glorified this guy and they admitted he was working with elements of the CIA to try to bring Taliban fighters. So, in other words, the Pentagon's wars, he wanted to converge them. The Taliban, Afghanistan, Ukraine, in one great battle against, or one great war against Vladimir Putin. No. This was an inside job. 649 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from Earl on Messenger. Jeff, Trump has seen more combat than Tim Walz. You know, that's true. I'm really, seriously. You know that Trump, with these 2 assassination attempts, sorry, either you laugh or you cry. So we might as well laugh a little bit. He's seen more combat than Tim Walz. Mr. I carry weapons of war in a war zone. What a BSer. 617-266-6868. Okay, let me ask all of you. Do you believe the second assassination attempt on Trump? Was it an inside job? The sheriff now in Martin County says it looks awfully suspicious, like it's a conspiracy. Eric Trump is now convinced it was an inside job. The entire Trump family, I believe, now says someone within the deep state is out to get Trump killed. Is that what you believe? 617-266-6868. Lines are jammed. Dave in the great state of Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Sure. How are you, Jeff?
Very good. How are you, Dave?
Good, Jeff. Two points I want to make real quick. Even before the Butler incident, of course, I was in Butler that day, but not the rally like I called you on that Saturday. And, Jeff, here's 2 interesting points. The Secret Service knew that they were asking for more assets to the Donald Trump detail, his respective Secret Service detail. And 2, not only was it an inside job, that's the perfect way to not give him resources and leave him open like a sitting duck, Jeff. No pun intended.
Well, I mean, I got to ask you, Dave, what would it cost our federal government, which spends hundreds of billions of dollars just on illegals alone? Okay, never mind everything else. To throw in, we're talking about a few $1 million. In terms of the larger budget, it's peanuts. Really, peanuts. It's like a drop in the bucket. To bolster Trump's security. Like, what is it to them? Why can't, Dave, let me ask you this. Why can't Joe Biden or Comrade Kamala, here's what I would do if they had any brains. Say, you know what, Mr. President, we want you to come to the White House. Meet him at the White House and say, look, this is not going to happen again. You are going to get exactly the kind of Secret Service protection that Biden has, that I have, like you were a sitting president, so that there is no opportunities for anyone to try to kill you again. And then we're going to go out together and show unity to the country and to the world. Yeah, we have our political disagreements, our political differences, but you want to see how united we are? Don't you dare try to assassinate this man again. Because he's got security up, to the teeth. And we're going to secure the perimeter. We're going to bolster his security. It's going to be an army that surrounds this guy, and they're going to have shoot to kill orders. So if you try to go after President Trump, you're dead. So don't do it. Now, this would be a moment that would unify the country. It would show that political violence is completely unacceptable and that we don't want a third assassination attempt. Instead, Dave, Biden says, talk to the Secret Service. Kamala gives some kind of a word salad. They don't want to secure that perimeter. They're basically saying it as far as they can say it. He's a sitting duck. He doesn't have the proper security. Now is the time to get him. Get him before the election. Because if your opponent is dead, we can't lose. Am I wrong, Dave?
Jeff, you're 100% right. Jeff, as you like to say, you're 1,000% correct. But can I throw this log onto the fire? I'm stealing all the Kuhner man's words this morning. Jeff, What about this? Okay, and I'm going to mention a movie that's recently out, Reagan. Maybe that old Democratic Party would have come together under Tip O'Neill and maybe Bobby Kennedy Sr., RFK's father, maybe JFK. But, Jeff, not this Democratic Party, because they're so far to the left. They make Obama look like a Tea Party member, Jeff. They are so far to the left, Jeff. And you're 100% right, Jeff. The movie Reagan showed a lot of where the Democrats used to be. They'd feud, Jeff, but as the old saying went, the partisanship ended at the borders. Now it goes beyond the borders to Ukraine and Israel and everything, Jeff. You know what I'm saying, to use that analogy. But, Jeff, just on closing, Jeff, they want to kill President Trump. There's no two ways from Sunday. This is an inside job. And this guy, Ruth, is nothing but a goofball. He looks like something from the Grateful Dead, Jeff. I
know. I mean, you could tell he's a few cards short of a full deck, as they say. You can see the elevator does not go to the top. He's the perfect patsy, just like Lee Harvey Oswald. Perfect patsy. And Lauren, I believe is her name. She messaged me on Messenger during the break, and she said, Jeff, have you noticed it's the same CIA playbook? What was Lee Harvey Oswald supposedly obsessed over? Russia. Well, this guy, it's apparently Ukraine. And both unstable, both, a little wee you. And her prediction is he won't last another week. Just like they got rid of Lee Harvey Oswald, they're going to get rid of Ryan Ruth. So it's the same CIA playbook. This guy smells CIA patsy all the way. And look, they almost got him. If it wasn't for one really good, heroic Secret Service agent who wants to protect the president, Trump is a dead man. And he would have gotten away had it not been for that female witness and everything that she did to get all the information. He would have gotten away. So at a bare minimum, it would have been an assassination attempt, but the assassin would have gotten away scot-free. We're living in very dangerous times. And I'm telling you, they're playing with fire. Dave, they are playing with serious fire. Dave, thank you very much for that call. Agree, disagree. Dave in Bellingham. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Jeff, let's figure this out. Everything going on right now is totally bogus. Now, if I was Trump, Jeff, and I'm going to put it real straight out, all the security right now, whoever's supposed to be keeping them under the covers and all that, you got to fire every one of them. Now, Jeff, when I'm on the road, I see a lot of bikes. And 90% of the bikes I see, Jeff, got the American flag and a picture of Trump on the flag itself. Jeff, this might sound crazy, but what I would do if I was Trump, I'd go out and hire some chapters, if you know what I mean. Because these are the ones who really want America back the way it ought to be. He should go out and hire chapters, and I won't say which chapters they are, but there's a lot of chapters who would back Trump up in a half a minute, do a better job on security, and Jeff, they have a lot of toys also. They don't, because who's going to keep, all Trump's going to do, somebody's a rat inside Trump's territory and ratting out every move he makes. You get some bikes together and let them bring their toys out, he'll be all set, Jeff. And they got dogs too. So, you know what I mean?
No, Dave, I hear you. And to even piggyback off of what you're saying, you got a lot of people ex-special forces. We're talking Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers. I mean, the best of the best, la creme de la creme. The cream of the cream, as the French say. And they've all come out and said, hey, look, man, we'll do it for free. 50 days till the election. It's okay. We'll take the financial hit. It's okay. We'll live on our savings. But we'll give you around the clock 24/7 protection. Deputize us, make sure that we can carry, proper long guns and everything. And and we'll protect you on the golf course. We'll protect you on the security perimeter. We'll protect you everywhere. We'll protect you on your plane. We'll protect you on the campaign trail. We'll literally, we'll form a circle around you at your rally. We'll give you security up the wazoo. We'll give you literally an army at your disposal. So, look, I know it's never been done before since the Secret Service was created after the Civil War, but I think Trump has to start to seriously consider it. Now, let me just throw, and Dave, thank you for that call. It's a very, very good call and an important call. Look, I think there is another possibility. And I fear that maybe we're still thinking too much like Americans, because we're thinking like, well, everything is still fair. So there's somebody evil within one of these agencies that's trying to go after Trump. But there are many of you out there, you've been emailing me, texting me, messaging me, saying, Jeff, no, there is another very realistic alternative. You don't even need a mole anymore in the, Homeland Security, which now runs the Secret Service or the Secret Service. All you have to now understand is he's being spied on by the government all the time. In other words, we're living in a police state. So the CIA, look, they've got drones. They've got espionage, surveillance technology. They probably have bugged Mar-a-Lago 6 ways to Sunday. I'm sure when the FBI raided his compound, it was shoot to kill orders for him and his family. I'm positive that they put surveillance and bugged his entire compound. So what many are saying is, no, the government is spying on him like they did in 2016. I.e. the Stasi. They're listening to every call. They're listening to every conversation. They're watching his every move. They're spying on him every way you can, every which way possible. So they don't even need a mole. They're just the CIA spying on him, the NSA spying on him, the FBI is spying on him. They know every move the guy makes. So if he wants Lindsey Graham or Sean Hannity at the last minute, meaning, the night before, saying, hey, you know what, guys? My aides are talking me out of doing something tomorrow. They're saying I got to recharge my batteries, take tomorrow off, play a couple rounds of golf, recharge, and we'll hit the campaign trail again on Monday. Can you guys want to golf with me tomorrow? Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. And then, of course, an hour before they canceled. But the point is, they would know that. And they go, okay, he's golfing tomorrow. 1:00 is tea time. Boom. Let's feed it to one of our would-be assassins. I think that's a very, very realistic, plausible scenario now, which is even worse because that means the whole damn deep state is in on it. So I don't care if it's door 1 or door 2. And by the way, now they can't get caught. See, that's the problem now. Now, what if Trump wins? Yeah, and I believe he will. You don't think he's going to want to know who tried to kill him? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that's why he's putting him on that commission to investigate political assassinations, leading with JFK and his father, RFK. RFK Jr. is like, I want to find out who killed my uncle and who killed my father. And then he said, while we're at it, I want to find out who's trying to kill Trump. Can you imagine if it all comes out that they were all spying on Trump and that elements of the deep state wanted him assassinated? Like JFK and his brother Robert Kennedy? Can you imagine the fallout from that? This is why his children, they're not cowards. They've been living with this threat for so many years now. As Eric Trump, and yesterday was a riveting interview, he said, we're under constant fear, constant threat. Any moment we can be assassinated. The Ayatollahs of Iran have put a fatwa, not just on Trump's head, but on my head, Eric Trump, Don Jr., everybody in our family. We have been living with this every day. We wake up every day saying, is this the last day we're going to be alive? That's the kind of pressure cooker that we now live in. So all I'm telling you is that Trump is a marked man. And he's got 50 days to survive. And let me just say this. If you think the left is violent now, if you think the Democrats are getting violent now, what do you think they're going to do when he wins on election night? You know, to her credit, Laura Ingraham finally said the quiet part out loud on Fox. They finally said it, which is what I've been saying now for a long time. If you keep telling your supporters over and over and over again, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party, the entire corrupt fake news media, that Trump is the next Hitler, that Trump is a dictator in waiting, that when Trump wins, if he wins in November, he's going to cancel all future elections, will be a permanent dictatorship. As Laura Ingraham said, then it's perfectly reasonable and rational for somebody to conclude, kill him. Of course. I mean, I'm not saying, again, don't misunderstand me. There should never be any violence, period. But if you're really convinced, if you really believe what you're saying, he's the next coming of Adolf Hitler. He wins and all our freedoms are gone. No more elections. The republic, our democracy is dead. It's finished. Finito. It's done. Kill him. Of course, you have to conclude that. Kill him. That's now what they've unleashed. That's the poison. That's the toxin that they've now unleashed into our body politic. Now, what's going to happen on election night? All of these Democrats that are now convinced Trump's going to be a dictator, and they hear, here, I'll read it to you. Straight from the media. Okay? And in particular, the Lincoln Project, those scumbags. You want to talk about dangerous, vile propagandists. These never Trump Republicans released a video comparing Trump to Hitler with images of Hitler when he seized power in Nazi Germany. And this is what they said. Hitler never took power. It wasn't taken. It was given. And when he won in an election, he never gave power back. That's what Trump will do in November. He is the next Hitler. That's literally almost verbatim what the Lincoln Project said. Now, what are they going to do November 5th when Trump is announced the winner? When Arizona falls to Trump and Nevada falls to Trump and Pennsylvania, the big one, falls to Trump and Michigan falls to Trump and Georgia falls to Trump and the people on the newscast look around and they're all dejected and demoralized, some of them openly weeping and crying and saying he's got over 300 electoral college votes. It's over. We can't stop him. He will be the next president. What do you think the left is going to do then? They're going to go absolutely berserk. Berserk. That's why what the media has done and what Kamala Harris has done and what Biden has done, it is so reckless. It is so irresponsible. I'm telling you, it's criminal. It's criminal what they've done. And now you can't put that genie back in the bottle. And that's why I've been saying for a long time, they cannot be forgiven for what they've done. This is the greatest hoax they have ever perpetrated. And I said this to Grace last night. I said, sweetheart, they're going all in now, all in on this election. Because when Trump wins and he's inaugurated, and then energy goes down, the price of gas goes down, because it will happen, the price of groceries goes down, the border gets secured, violent, criminal, illegal aliens are being deported, crime starts to go down, there's a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, there's a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. And you start to get real peace and prosperity again. And then there's a midterm election. What happens then? I thought he was going to suspend all elections. What happens? And then what happens after his 4 years are over? And he leaves this country in much better shape. And then we have a primary, both parties, and then another election. How do they recover? But you told us he was Hitler. But you told us he was going to be a dictator. But you told us he was going to cancel and suspend all elections. And none of it turns out to be true. How do you ever get whatever is left of credibility, your credibility back? You can't walk that back. It's apocalyptic doom and gloom. The sky is falling. America is finished. Here, as I said on X, this is what Joe Biden said, verbatim now, just several months ago. Okay? You want to wonder why Ryan Ruth tried to kill Trump? You want to know why Thomas Crooks tried to kill Trump? You want to know why there's going to be a third, and if that fails, a fourth, and if that fails, a fifth assassination attempt? Here is what Joe Biden said to the entire country. Quote, Trump is a threat to democracy. He is a threat to freedom. He is an existential threat, existential, to America and everything it stands for. End of quote. Now, if I believe this man, and by the way, this is all being uncritically challenged by the media. They're just like nodding their heads. Yep, it's true. Yep, it's true. Yep. No, it's true. It's true. It's all true. So I'm watching this. I'm listening to this. And I'm saying the president of the United States is telling me this man is an existential threat to our country, to our freedom, to everything we hold dear. And the media, who I'm supposed to trust, is saying, yep, it's all true. How do I not pick up a gun? I have to pick up a gun. This man must be killed. He must be assassinated. Those are the furies that they've unleashed. If I'm President Trump, you better get yourself an army, my friend, because this is not going to stop. This is just the beginning. 7:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Do you believe the second assassination attempt on Trump Sunday in West Palm Beach at his golf club by Ryan Ruth, was it an inside job? Do you believe now that there is someone leaking on the inside that wants Trump dead? I say yes. What do you say? CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
Jeff, what I say is without a doubt. And whoever thought in America that three simple words could have two assassination attempts on your life? You remember what those words were?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, drain the swamp.
He knew that they were coming after them. And they said, we need to take this man out before we have to get him before he gets us. Whether it was the gain-of-function research in Luan that led to the deaths of more than 1 million Americans, whether it was Senator Ted Cruz and a number of senators marching on January 6th to the Capitol to tell Mike Pence not to certify the election because there was voter fraud. This is just a series of events as to what's going on. But let's remember now, twice in the last month, President Trump's aircraft had to be grounded or taken down because of mechanical issues. 2 or 3 weeks ago, the same thing happened to J.D. Vance. His plane had to be taken down because of mechanical issues. What's more convenient for these people who want to take Trump out than to have an incident on an aircraft? If it's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. But there are people, especially in the Euro region, who keep bashing Trump along with our own mainstream media. Last night, this Craig Kopitas, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy. He was on a French Roundtable News. He's the contributing editor of the Daily Beast. He said repeatedly, these two attempts on Donald Trump's life was done by Donald Trump in order to get votes. They were staged events, just like him not being clipped by that bullet in the ear. You know, I hope people wake up to see what's happening in this country, because they have been blinded by the idea that America is here with open arms. If the immigration issue within itself doesn't say that these Democrats hate their own country, then I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I had said that if Donald Trump was gunned down at high noon in Times Square, the mainstream media would say that whoever did this did the country a great service. So what's going to happen here? I think that there is an attempt here to not rile up the people, but to provoke a civil war in this country. And I think the Democratic Communist Party needs to remember that there are 400 million licensed weapons in this country. And if that happens, there is going to be a patriotic overtaking of this country by people who care for this country. And I don't want to see that happen. But that is what they want. They have to keep Donald Trump out of that White House again at all costs. And this, if Joe Biden can say, well, go to this agency to see if they have the money for more protection. Well, you can give Ukraine $250 billion to protect the country that's going to lose that war, but you can't protect your own former president of the United States. They don't want to protect him. They want him dead. This is on the hands of Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and the people within these agencies who want to see Donald Trump dead. They want him dead, and they're not going after Trump, as Trump said. They could kill me, but they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. They're coming after the conservative party, the independents in this country, the libertarians in this country, in order to have a one-party system, a one-party rule to rule over this country. And just let me say this, if I may, on these movie stars, these maggots, along with Martha Stewart, who just endorsed Kamala Harris. These high-profile people they just want recognition, and they're losing it. And finally, let me say this. I watched my first football game the other day and had to turn it off. There is so much division in this country. Now they are playing what they call the Black National Anthem. Rise up and sing. You talk about bringing a country together. There is no such thing as a Black National Anthem. That is the most racist thing that they can do to this country to divide it. And I can tell you now that the national anthem, that involves every nationality, every color, every ethnicity in this country. And they need to stop doing this. So if the NFL is going to identify with blacks by playing the Black National Anthem, when our national anthem is played, I demand that be recognized as the white national anthem of the United States of America.
Well, you know, CJ, I don't watch the NFL. I haven't watched the NFL in a very, very long time. They lost me over Black Lives Matter when they started kneeling, all of them, these overpaid, spoiled brat athletes who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, essentially playing a game, and they're complaining about being, oppressed and that they're living in some kind of a racist country. To me, it was disgusting. When they started to take a knee and disrespect our flag and everybody who fought and died for that flag, I said, you're not getting my money. And frankly, I haven't watched a game since. Man, I don't miss it. I really don't. Okay, more next. 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, text line is on fire, my friends. So here is what many of you are saying regarding Lindsey Graham. There's a lot of you out there very suspicious about Lindsey Grahamnesty, as I like to call him, Mr. Amnesty. He decided to pull out at the last possible moment. So here's what some of you are saying about what you think his role may be in whether leaking information about Trump's whereabouts and what he was doing Sunday afternoon. This is from 602. Jeff, we can reasonably deduce that someone leaked to the deep state that Donald Trump would be golfing Sunday and where. So we have to look at who knew. Now, I'm not making any accusations, and I know that you, Jeff, are not making any accusations. But we have to raise at least an eyebrow and consider what would the establishment rhino swamp creature, Lindsey Graham, be doing? Both Lindsey Graham and Sean Hannity were invited to play golf, and both pulled out at the last moment before getting out on the golf course with Donald Trump. I think we can rule Sean Hannity out. But Lindsey Graham, on the other hand, is a person that most of us have absolutely no trust because of his track record. He has established deep state connections, and it only takes one phone call, to tip off the deep state. So my question is this. When was Lindsey Graham invited to play golf? Was it on Saturday? And why did he decide to pull out? Again, I'm just asking questions. Well, look, he's got a big mouth. I mean, I'm not saying anything nobody in Washington doesn't know. Lindsey Graham is one of the biggest blowhards you'll ever run into. The guy will talk your ear off. He's a chatterbox. So could I see him telling 1 million people on the phone, I'm scheduled to play golf with the president tomorrow? He just called me up, I don't know, say 8 p.m. or whatever, Saturday night, and said, hey, he wants to go golfing tomorrow, and I'm going to be one of his golfing partners or golfing buddies. Yes, I could definitely see him blabbing, texting people, calling people. So no question. I want to know who, if I was leading this investigation, he's the first guy I would sit down with and say, how many people did you tell? And how specific were you about the fact that you were planning to golf with the president before you pulled out at the last moment? And by the way, why did you decide not to golf at the last possible moment? I'm not making any accusations, but if you're going to, do a proper, thorough investigation, these questions have to be asked. They have to be asked. Now, here's one more. This is from 781. And it's Jeff. We have to ask the ultimate question. Who is the mole reporting to? Because I agree with you. I think there is somebody on the inside leaking damaging information about Trump's whereabouts and his location. So, Jeff, what is Trump's core issue? The border. What agency and what man is most responsible for the invasion on the ground level? Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security, who has always worked for the globalists, Mayorkas, whose agency monitors every communication of every kind by everyone, Mayorkas. And by the way, that's a great point, 781. And may I add, who does the Secret Service answer to? Mayorkas. Secret Service now answers to Homeland Security. As you know, it used to be under the Treasury Department. And by the way, I need to say this. The Secret Service was much more professional, had much higher standards, did not have these lapses in judgment and lapses in security when it was under the Treasury Department. It was only post 9/11 when they created this massive bureaucracy that they said, let Secret Service fall under Homeland Security. And ever since then, it has been downhill for the Secret Service. So one of the things I would do if I were Trump is you want to reform the Secret Service, put it right back to where it always was, ever since the Civil War. Put it back under the Treasury Department. Let them be real professionals again and not serve this blob, this huge bureaucracy that is clearly out of control. But, let that go. To me, the bigger point is this. Who is this insider and who is this insider reporting to? And so let me throw these two logs on the fire. Do you trust Lindsey Graham? Do you trust Sean Hannity? And Mayorkas? Is he the one that's now leaking to the FBI Trump's whereabouts, Trump's details, Trump's schedule? I wouldn't put anything past this guy. He's a snake. I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him. He's another one I would look at very closely. That's why I don't trust the FBI to do this investigation, because you're asking the deep state to investigate itself. Homeland Security and the FBI are like two peas in a pod. Just like the DOJ and Homeland Security, they're two peas in a pod. So is the FBI going to really investigate Mayorkas? No. Are they even going to investigate Lindsey Graham? No. That's why we know if the FBI is conducting this investigation, it's going to get nowhere. And that's the point. Sweep it under the rug so they can set up a third assassination attempt. Am I wrong? 617-266-6868. Thomas in the great state of Florida. Thanks for holding, Thomas, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Thomas?
I wish I was better, but I monitor the Dan Bongino show, and he believes he's got whistleblowers galore, and he's narrowed it down to 10 people in the inner circle of the FBI. So he probably knows, has a pretty good idea who's perpetrating all this stuff.
Thomas, if you had to guess, who do you think is the culprit here, or culprits?
I'm thinking the inner circle, the upper echelon of the Secret Service elite. That's what I think the culprit is.
And you know what? And to be honest, I agree with you. And I clearly think Mayorkas has a hand in this. Because ultimately, Secret Service is answerable to Homeland Security. And there's no way this could be going on without at least the knowledge of Mayorkas. At a minimum, willful blindness on his part. At a bare minimum. And look, it's no accident. It's no secret, by the way. The FBI leadership can't stand Trump. It's been widely reported. They don't want him back in power. They fear many of them are going to go to jail. They were the ones who were spying on Trump during his presidency. They spied on Trump during his campaign. They're the ones who tried to frame him as a colluder with Vladimir Putin and the whole Russia collusion hoax. So many of them, a la Peter Strzok, as an example, a la James Comey, many of them are facing serious prison time if Trump comes back to power. So, Thomas, what I see is it's like an octopus. I see the tentacles of this going right to the CIA, because this guy screams CIA. Ryan Ruth screams CIA. I see the CIA. I see the FBI. I see the DOJ. I see the Homeland Security, Secret Service. I see all of them, parts of them, leadership colluding together and basically saying, Kamala's a puppet. We can control her. She doesn't scare us. But this guy who's going to drain the swamp, this guy who's now saying, you didn't get, the first term, in my first term in office, I learned my lesson. Now I'm going to finish the job I started. This guy can never become president again. Ever. No matter what. Final word to you, Thomas.
I'm just saying, Dan Bongino is a patriot, and he is to be trusted, and he knows what he talks about.
Thomas, there's a lot of people now who are convinced this was an inside job, and they're warning Trump, be very careful, because another assassination attempt is coming. Thomas, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Couple lines are open if you want to jump on. Let me ask you, what do you make now of this stunning discovery that Ryan Ruth was actually there for 12 hours, waiting in his sniper's nest for Trump at his West Palm Beach golf club? Was it an inside job? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. What do you think is the most likely explanation for the second assassination attempt on Trump? What do you think to you makes more sense? A, that it was the act of a lone wolf, Ryan Ruth acting alone, or B, that it's part of a larger conspiracy, as the sheriff put it, of Martin County, where Ryan Ruth was arrested Sunday after he fled when he was spotted by a Secret Service agent, and apparently 4 shots were fired. Do you believe this is part of a larger conspiracy, an insider, a leaker, and they're out to get Trump? Or do you think this was simply a lone wolf who happened to get lucky and nearly got the president? A, lone wolf. B, part of a larger conspiracy. You know where I stand. I am a B all the way, baby. I can't read the evidence, frankly, any other way. But that's me. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in national ER, WRKO.com/Kuhner. You can also vote via X. I am very super active on X. I was again last night. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHN as in national ER. Mike in Brockton. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
Honored to talk to you. First time. I just got to say this real quick. Everyone's saying inside job, leaker, this and that. Back when the raid of Mar-a-Lago happened, just like back in 2016, how do we know that the government didn't put tracking software to find out his messages and correspondence going on within his own home, basically? And they want you to think that it's an inside person or a mole, to get everyone focused on that and just ignore the fact that they've been watching him, tracking him, and listening to him ever since 2016.
Mike, I think it's a brilliant point. I touched on it earlier in the show, but I'm very happy you brought it up again. That's what many in this great audience believe, and I think they could be right. I mean, either it's door 1 or door 2. Either the deep state is trying to get him killed, and they're feeding information to the FBI's would-be assassins, and there's no question the FBI is gunning for Trump's head. Or you're right, we really now live in a police state, a full-fledged police state. They spied on Trump in 2016. They've been spying on him nonstop. They raided his home in Mar-a-Lago. I know Melania is convinced, and she's not a paranoid person at all. Eric Trump said recently, he goes, look, I'm telling you, he goes, I'm a businessman. I'm very pragmatic, very hard-headed. I'm, dollars and cents and figures and numbers. They're out to get us, and they're spying on us. And so Melania is convinced that their home was bugged, that they have surveillance equipment installed by the FBI when they raided their home. And so in that case, you don't even need a leaker. because they're listening to every call Trump makes, every move he makes, everybody he speaks to. They've got him surveilled. They've got drone technology, surveillance technology, cyber technology. They've got all kinds of technology. So anything he says, anything he does, they're watching him like a hawk. So you're completely right. Now, Mike, either one, bad as they are, they're both crimes. I mean, we're talking monstrous, massive crimes. There's no democracy anymore. If it's the first one, just for the sake of argument, Mike, if this is a deep state trying to assassinate the leading presidential candidate, then there's no democracy. If it's the government spying, the regime constantly spying on this leading presidential candidate, its top opponent, with trying to get him killed, we don't live in a democracy. I know we live in a republic, not a democracy, but my point is there is no genuine political freedom left in America. Either way, it's a massive scandal. Now, let me just say this, and I want to go right back to you, Mike. If there's a third assassination attempt on Trump, and I believe there will be, then I think most Americans are going to conclude, beyond the shadow of a doubt, they're going to say, no, he's being set up, and this is an orchestrated campaign to get him killed. There's no way the CIA can drop the ball. Sorry, the Secret Service can drop the ball 3 times. There was no security on the roof, no security on the perimeter in Butler. There was no security in the bushes, no security in the perimeter in Florida at the golf club. If this happens a third time, trust in the FBI, trust in the Secret Service, trust in Homeland Security is going to be shattered, irreparably shattered. What say you, Mike?
That trust has been shattered for years. Just my honest opinion. It's been shattered for years. I don't trust them at all.
Mike, look, they're tightening the grip on him. The closer we get to November, as he gets closer and closer to the gates of victory. And that's now what we're starting to approach. Kamala bombed again. I'm going to play the cut if I can, or the cuts later in the show. It was an absolute disaster of an interview with a local reporter in Philadelphia. Everybody's saying a few more of those and her goose is completely cooked. As we get closer and closer to Trump now winning in November, do you fear that the assassination attempts are going to get ratcheted up? And maybe we're not going to be dealing with crazy gunmen, but maybe we're going to deal with, I don't know, a bomb or blowing his plane out of the sky, or because that, when the CIA wants to get you, they'll get you. Do you fear now we're starting to enter that territory, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. More on a larger scale, unfortunately. That's how bad it is.
Interesting.
My opinion.
Interesting. Mike, great point. Please don't be a stranger. Call again, my friend. No, I think he's right. I think it's very plausible. Very plausible. That, as we're all maybe looking for who's the leaker, who's the mole, who's the insider, they're surveilling him 24/7. They've been spying on him and they haven't stopped. You see, we all thought they stopped after they got caught in 2016. What if they haven't stopped? Or to even, to even jump off of that, when they raided Mar-a-Lago, again, shoot to kill orders for Trump and his entire family. If you're a police state, and these people now are deep staters, make no mistake about it, I would load that place up with all kinds of bugs, all kinds of surveillance technology. So we know exactly what he's doing. We know what he's doing. We know what his aides are doing, because Mar-a-Lago is called, the Winter White House. It's basically the king in exile. It's his castle, his palace in exile, because the election was stolen from him in 2020. So Netanyahu met Trump at Mar-a-Lago. World leaders meet Trump at Mar-a-Lago. All of his top advisors and aides meet him at Mar-a-Lago. So if you want to know exactly what Trump is thinking, what he's being told, what he's telling people, hey, you just got to bug Mar-a-Lago, and you can, it's like being there. And do I think they're leaving him alone? That they're actually giving him his genuine privacy rights? No way. No way. And I'll tell you how they justify it to themselves. Well, he's an insurrectionist. He's a domestic terrorist. He's a white supremacist. He's a Nazi. He's a dictator in waiting. How can we not spy on him? Hey, this guy's going to be the next Hitler. Of course we have to spy on him. That's how they justify it to themselves. So I think it's a very, very viable possibility and alternative. Let's go to Sheldon in Plymouth. Thanks for holding, Sheldon, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
Hi, Sheldon.
I've been thinking about it a lot. First of all, I'm a golfer, and if I get an opportunity to play golf with Trump, even if I got an opportunity to play with Clinton or Obama, I'm not turning it down. So that's weird. But what I called to say was, this is a guy that doesn't need this job. He has plenty of money. He's been a very successful businessman. And for him to go out there on the front lines shows you how much he loves our country. And when he came out originally and said, you know what, I'm not doing another debate, I think that it's now time for him to do another debate. And in that debate, he needs to talk about how they're coming after him. And he also needs to point out how they have installed Kamala as their candidate, from pulling her out of the election in 2020, knowing that she could be a puppet that they could use later on, and they did. They put her in with Joe Biden, who was a failing older man, so she would be right in place for them to take over. Well, that didn't work out, so now they've bumped Joe Biden out, and they've installed their puppet so they have the person that they can control, and they know that Donald Trump can't be controlled, and that Donald Trump is on the side of America, not on the side of the deep state, for any political party.
Well, that's why that's why, as you put it, they handpicked Kamala, just like they handpicked Joe Biden. They want a puppet. The system demands a puppet. And that's why they rammed Joe Biden down our throats. Now they're going to try to ram Kamala down our throats. And that's why Trump has to be eliminated at all costs. Now, at this point, Sheldon, look, maybe Trump will destroy her in a debate again. But the way he got burned by the ABC moderators, and I don't know if you've seen any of the fallout, Sheldon, but one of the two moderators, Lindsay Davis, she just can't keep her mouth shut. See, that's the thing with all these liberals. They so want to be seen as heroes on the cocktail circuit among their fellow moonbat liberal friends that they just can't shut up. So apparently it's been reported that the morning after the debate, she sat down with an interview, to do an interview. And she openly admitted, she said, we're out to get Trump. And she said, and we were determined to fact check him. And then the interviewer said, well, were you ever going to fact check Kamala? He said, no, we were never going to fact check Kamala. And we were never intended to fact check Kamala. Our goal was to fact check Trump in order to make sure that he gets defeated in November. And so she said, we were ready. We went after him on Springfield, Ohio. We went after him on abortion. We went after him on January 6th. We laid those traps and he fell into them. So she openly bragged how it was a setup and the whole debate was rigged. She admitted it. Now, apparently, there's a whistleblower. I'm waiting for this shoe to drop. From what I've been reading, there's a whistleblower who's now apparently signing affidavits and signing pieces of paper, who's going to come out and say, this is what I've read, that they sent Kamala Harris and her team, quote unquote, sample questions before the debate. Okay, quote unquote, sample questions, which turn out to be the questions. So it's all coming out. So if I'm Donald Trump, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, so let me get this straight. They were out to get me. This was a clear ambush. They admit it. They're bragging about it. They even gave her the questions the sample questions ahead of time. And I'm going to agree to another one of these? so they can destroy me and undermine me and deliver a knockout blow? I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless we can do it on a network or a platform where I know it's going to be at least semi-fair and it's going to be neutral, where the questions won't be given ahead of time, where they're not there just to lie about me in their fact-checking to try to make the other candidate look good, where they're determined to rig the debate against me. So give me a platform that I can, come out and have an actual debate. Yes. But if it's going to be another one of these setups, it's another journalistic assassination attempt. That's what that was. That was a journalistic assassination attempt. So honestly, if I'm Trump, I'm like, hey, look, man, I'm tired of dodging bullets. Really. Enough is enough. Anyway, just my opinion. Sheldon, thank you very much for that call. Okay, very quick. You need to hear this. One of the most disgusting people in the media is Lester Holt, NBC, MSNBC. They may be outside of ABC News. They may be the worst of the worst. Listen now to how they're spinning the assassination attempt. This is Lester Holt on NBC News. Roll cut 28, Mike.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
So let me get this straight. Trump got what he deserved? Lester Holt is blaming Trump for the fact that Ryan Huth wanted to kill him. He's lying about those Haitian migrants. Intense rhetoric. This is the kind of stuff that'll get you killed. So Trump is to blame for someone wanting to kill him with an AK-47? You sick puppy, you. Seriously. And by the way, the governor of Ohio has now come out, Mike DeWine, that little sleazy rhino governor. He's now had to come out and say, all those bomb threats that were at schools and workplaces around Springfield, Ohio? Every single one of them was a hoax. They never even came from people in Springfield. They came from overseas. The whole thing was BS. There were no real bomb threats. They were all hoaxes. And yet the media leaped to the conclusion, this is what you get from J.D. Vance. Donald Trump, they're to blame. These bomb threats, they're going to get people killed. And it turned out to all be bull crap. All 30-plus bomb threats were hoaxes. Even, this is CNN. Even a former FBI agent, Tim Clement, on CNN, said, I'm sorry, but all this talk about Trump being Hitler, Trump being a dictator in waiting, Trump he's going to cancel and suspend all elections should he win in November. That's what clearly led to this and other assassination attempts. Roll cut 24, Mike.
Aaron, it's unprecedented in a civilized society. And I think we're becoming more and more uncivilized, sadly, with the political diatribes that are going on and the political, indictments of either candidate. And sadly, the finger pointing at Trump has led to, the line about the bloodbath, talking about the auto industry being used as if he's going to create a bloody coup if he loses. That kind of verbiage is something you use in a third world country when you're talking about a dictator. And that sadly has led to, I think, these attempts on Trump's life. And I don't think it's going to end. And I think we just have to realize, look, we're political opponents. You and I might not agree on 50% of what we care about politically. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean we can't be friends, neighbors, relatives, and have a regular dialogue every day. And we have to get back to that. Talk about our differences, but not in a way that makes us feel like you're the enemy and I'm all good.
Well, they crossed that Rubicon a long time ago. But no, he's right. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden have gone on about, well, you've called for a bloodbath. And he's like, no. I said her climate change policies are going to lead to a financial bloodbath, especially in the auto industry. That's all. In other words, jobs are going to be lost. People are going to lose their homes, their jobs, their mortgages. I never called for some kind of a political or physical bloodbath. Go out and kill people. You're deliberately distorting what I said in order to inflame, to incite. This is purely incendiary. Now, it doesn't matter. You can say this till the cows come home. They keep lying over and over and over again. In fact, I want all of you to brace yourself. Okay, get ready for this. Hillary Clinton, the Hildebeest, is back. And she's chastising the media, saying, you have to go after Trump even harder. She's laying the groundwork. This is her attempted assassination prep. Basically, this is right after the second assassination attempt. She's like, no. You got to lay the groundwork even harder because there's got to be a third and a fourth until somebody finally takes this guy out. Listen to her. Roll cut 25 on MSNBC. Mike.
I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. His demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it. They were merciless about what they saw as President Biden's, problems in the debate and calling for him to withdraw. I believe Donald Trump has disqualified himself over and over and over again.
Stop it right there. Stop it right there. He's dangerous. He's disqualified himself. You have to be merciless. In other words, we didn't get him the second time. We've got to get him the third time. 821 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you can text us 70470, 70470. This is from 617. Jeff, to prove that Mayorkas may be behind all of this, just last week, Mayorkas denied Trump's request for extra Social Security protection. Sorry, extra Secret Service, my bad. Extra Secret Service protection. Extra SS protection, as he wrote in the text. So, look, to me, it's unbelievable. It really is. Now, on MSNBC, Congresswoman Plunkett, who's one of Kamala Harris's top media surrogates, she's a member of Congress, said that Trump is a wannabe dictator and he must be shot. And then she said stopped. So she went from he must be stopped. I mean, talk about a Freudian slip. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're not giving him enough protection. They're leaving him twisting in the wind, and they're going as far as they can possibly go. Wink, wink. Don't miss this time. Agree, disagree. Dennis in the great state of Alabama. Thanks for holding, Dennis, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Dennis, we're going to try to reconnect with you. Again, you're sounding like one of those droids in Star Wars. Let's try it again here, Dennis. It's not you, it's the connection.
I can fix that.
Hold on, Dennis. We're going to come back to you, I promise. Okay, we're just going to fix the connection. Russ in Boston. Okay, hold on. Dennis, we're going to try you again. Maybe the third time is the charm. Okay, what about now, Dennis?
I can hear you great.
Yep, you're coming in loud and clear, Dennis. Go ahead, my friend.
Wonderful. See, Trump, when he was on the golf course, he wasn't as close as he could be. Why would that guy put the muzzle out of the fence before he was there? Also, isn't there a street behind the bushes? And the cop or whoever it was shot 5 shots at him. He doesn't know what's on the other side. He could have been public. There could have been people. Something is fishy. You don't put the muzzle outside the fence. Anyway, it's all a scam. All a scam from one end to the other. It's, man, I had so much on my mind.
Well, no, but Dennis, just look, you raise an interesting point. You know, I saw there's a busy street behind that fence. There's some bushes, there are hedges, so you can hide yourself in there, and that's what he did for 12 hours. But right behind the bushes and hedges, it's not like what you normally think about a golf course where there's a lot of woods, a lot of trees everywhere. No, I mean, it's a beautiful golf course. There's no question. Gorgeous golf course. But it's surrounded by roads. And these are busy roads. I mean, you can see cars are whizzing by all around the fence and the golf course. So, I mean, we're not talking about, miles and miles of territory. We're talking about what? What would you say, Mike? 30 feet? I mean, you looked at the pictures, 30 feet, 25 feet of bushes and hedges before you hit pavement? Even less than that. Okay, Mike says even less. Before you hit a sidewalk, you hit pavement, you hit, lights and cars. How much would it cost to get a couple of canines, a couple of canine units with 1 or 2 extra Secret Service personnel, and instead of going hole by hole by hole with these guys in their golf carts, send them around the perimeter, sniff, as these guard dogs do, and you've secured the outer perimeter. I mean, I'm sorry, but Dennis, you're completely right. This stinks. This is such an easy way to secure the location, and they didn't do it. So a second time now, the Secret Service dropped the ball. Massive security breach. Again, I'm not talking about that single Secret Service agent who spotted the rifle and the muzzle. The man is a hero. And especially that female witness, to me, you want to talk about a heroine. Without her, he would have gotten away. This guy, Ryan Huth, would have gotten away scot-free. She got his picture, his face. She got his car. She got his stolen tags. And by the way, Dennis, let me just add this, and then I'm going to come right back to you after the break, I promise. How is it that this guy, a convicted felon, convicted of possessing a weapon of mass destruction, okay, in 2002, he had a fully automatic machine gun in a standoff with the police. He's able to fly from Hawaii to Florida, and he's not on the TSA domestic terrorist watch list, but Tulsi Gabbard is? This stinks. This stinks to high heaven. 8:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Let's go right back to Dennis in Alabama. Dennis, so you're saying nothing about what happened a couple days ago makes any sense to you? It doesn't make sense to most people. Dennis, I've got to ask you point blank. Do you believe that this was an inside job? Do you believe now that the deep state is trying to get Trump killed and assassinated?
Of course I do. And they're very outspoken about it. And those bulletproof vests, he had them spaced too far apart. That doesn't make any sense. Put one on the front, put one on the back. The whole thing does not make sense. That was a Russian rifle is what I believe. It looks like an AK-47, but so that is what the rifle that he used in Ukraine when he went to fight. And I don't see how he brought it back with him, but all the numbers are scratched off. The serial numbers are scratched off, but that's what he used in Ukraine. That was his weapon that he was used to. Yeah, it really stinks. And then the timing. How did he know that he was going to play golf at that time? We got to find out how he knew the timing. Now, did he come from Hawaii and sit here for 3 months waiting, or did he get here, get there, get over there? It was all planned out. You know, the investigations, they don't tell us anything. They just keep going, and avoiding it. They can't. They need to do something, because we're going to blow up. We're going to only take so much. And I believe in God, and I've been praying like crazy. Maybe this is God's way to show us that we better sharpen this country up, because it is perverted. It is terrible.
Well, you know, Dennis, it's funny you should say that, because, and thank you very much for that call, Dennis, and a very good call. This is Trump. And he did an interview last night on X, and he took questions, as he always does, any and all questions. You know, he's not afraid to go into the lion's den. And he was asked point blank by somebody, you were saved once in Butler. That was a miracle. You came an inch within losing your life. Again, yesterday, there was a major, it was yesterday, but I mean Sunday, 2 days ago. There was a major assassination attempt on your life. And do you believe that there is now the hand of God? And listen to Trump's response. Roll cut 16, Mike.
There's something going on. I mean, perhaps it's God wanting me to be president to save this country. Nobody knows, but when I made the right turn, it's very unusual, because the people weren't on the right. The people were standing out in front of me. When I turned my head at an exact 90-degree angle, the bullet came zooming by and clipped my ear.
And look, what many people around Trump are saying is that what these assassination attempts are doing, ironically, is they're actually making Trump stronger. He's now coming across as a martyr, which he is. He's gaining even more sympathy, which he is. It's actually even giving him more of a boost in the polls, which is now undeniable. So ironically, politically, it's been a huge boon for Trump. But I think it's also done something else. The two assassination attempts have exposed, like nothing else, how evil, how diabolical, and how corrupt this entire regime is. And I don't just mean the Harris-Biden regime or the Democrat Party or the media. I'm talking about the entire ruling class and the entire deep state. How far they're willing to go. They're willing, think about this, to murder a political candidate, to even potentially incite a civil war. Think of this, in order to keep their power. That is how corrupt, that is how dangerous, that is how irresponsible they've become. And if it takes multiple assassination attempts to lift that veil, to lift that mask over this corruption and evil, then it's worth it. And I think that's what Trump means. He goes, there's something larger than me going on here. And we got 50 days, my friends. 50 days will decide everything. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding, Russ, and welcome.
Jeff, we are living a nightmare. There's no question about it. We are living a nightmare. The Democratic Party, the rhinos, the deep state, the oligarchs, the communists, and the warmongers are evil. Evil people have no limit in what they will do to remain in power. Only President Trump can deliver us from this evil. We are close to World War III. If we give Ukraine American-guided long-range missiles, we have committed an act of war against Russia. Putin would be justified in launching a major attack on the U.S. If I was Putin, I would attack the Alaskan oil fields. Gas would go to $10 a gallon, driving us into a depression. Only using conventional weapons. During the attack, I would pick up the red phone and tell Biden we must agree to a ceasefire before this gets out of control. And never forget, the first country to use nuclear weapons will be crucified, and Putin knows this if we don't.
Russ, brilliant. Absolutely magnificent point. The Biden regime is now on the verge. It's one of the biggest stories in the world. This is front page all over Europe. That the Biden regime, by the way, the British have already given their approval to the Ukrainians to use their British missiles and to launch them deep into Russian territory. Biden is now on the brink of giving Ukraine the green light to use these precision-guided missiles, ATACMS as they're called, which could strike Russian cities all across Russia. And Putin has come out and said, when this happens, we will be officially at war with NATO and with the United States, and we will have to respond accordingly. So we're now literally escalating now into potentially World War III and maybe even a nuclear showdown. We shall see. And yet the media doesn't give a damn. And they're trying to just ignore that story. In fact, they're bragging in private that if they need a war, they can have a war with Russia, and they believe that will pull Kamala's chestnuts out of the fire because they believe the country is going to rally around the Biden-Harris regime. I want to ask you this, Russ. Now, in war, as you know, because you served in Vietnam, and I've always admired you for that and for your service, Russ, you know that truth is the first casualty of war. So I always take anything any government says with a big grain of salt. The Russians lie, the Ukrainians lie. That's what happens in any war. Governments lie. So knowing that, Dmitry Medvedev, really the number 2 under Putin, the ex-president of Russia, yesterday came out and told the Russian media that he believes Ryan Ruth was sent by Zelensky and the Ukrainians to assassinate Trump. That Zelensky is petrified of Trump coming back to power, ending the gravy train, ending all the billions of dollars that are being sent and that he and his people are stealing, and that they are the ones who wanted Trump dead, along with the CIA and with the Biden regime. Do you believe, Russ, that the Ukrainians had a hand in this assassination attempt? I'm just curious.
Jeff, if you told me, I don't care who you mention, okay, on the opposite side of all of this, if any of them you told me were part of a conspiracy, I would believe it without question, okay? Jeff, honest to God, as being a war veteran myself, okay, as being an anti-communist and everything else, all the sacrifices that we made to keep the communists in check, all of it now is down the drain. Every bit of it, all the sacrifices down the drain by these rotten, no good, scumbag politicians and the a-holes that vote for these son of a bitches. They deserve to go to hell as well as everybody else, Jeff. And that's how sick I am over this.
They're playing with our lives, Russ. And that's why we have to win in November. We need peace, and we need peace now. Russ, thank you very much for that call. Bill in Hawaii, the great state of Hawaii. Thank you for holding, Bill, and welcome.
Aloha.
Aloha, Bill. What's on your mind, my friend?
I just wanted to add in that Trump isn't the only one who's the target. There are a lot of Americans that died in 2001. Who was the director of the FBI in 2001?
Wasn't that Mueller?
That's right. It was Mueller. And what came out of 9/11? I think there was a Patriot Act.
That's right. The Patriot Act, the Homeland Security Department, spying on American citizens, the Secret Service falling under the control of Homeland Security. Really, the deep state that we have now grew out of 9/11.
I was also approached very recently by, I think it was a government agent. But
Bill, can you do me a favor? I'm up against a hard break. I'm going to leave the audience hanging. Bill was approached by a government agent. What did they want him to do? We're going to come back with Bill. Hard break. I got to go, but we'll be back. Don't touch that dial. 8:50 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. Let's go right back to Bill in Hawaii. Bill, so apparently you said you were approached by someone who you think was some kind of a government official or government agent. Please pick up where you left off.
Okay, what happened was I was coming home by bus, and so anyway, I had this gentleman come over and sit down next to me, started asking me all kinds of personal questions about my exact address and so forth. And I'm wondering, who the heck is this guy? And then I kind of realized that the bus had gone farther than where my stop was. And I'm blind, and so I have to really pay attention to such things, or else I'm totally lost. If I get totally lost, I'm in bad trouble. So I told him, "I'm sorry, I can't talk. I gotta get off this bus before I go too far." And he says, "Well, it'll go back around." And I said, "Well, yeah, then I'm on the wrong side of the street, and I have real trouble crossing the street." So I reached down for my bag with groceries that I had with me, and my hand is searching around for it. And he says, "Can't you see?" And I said, "No." And so I got off the bus, and he's asking, do I need any help? And I said, "I've been lost many times. I can get around. I can figure it out." So I left wondering, who the heck was that? And why? How did he know so much about me?
Interesting.
And that's been bothering me ever since.
It's been bothering you ever since. Well, look, Bill, let me ask you, what do you make of this second assassination attempt? Speaking of, people working covertly or government agents or, people working with the CIA like this guy Ryan Ruth did, do you think it was an inside job? Do you think he was a lone wolf? Or do you think he was working with people within the deep state?
I think people in deep state, because both of these assassination attempts have the FBI's fingerprints all over it.
That's a very good point. No, I think there's no other conclusion. I mean, whether they're spying on Trump or whether there's a mole that's trying to deliberately leak information about Trump and set him up, whatever it is, I don't believe these were two coincidences. That Thomas Crooks on his own just simply wanted to get Trump, and now this guy on his own simply wanted to get Trump. And that twice in a row, we had massive security lapses. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Once, maybe. Twice, no way. Bill, thank you very much for that call. Andy in Milford, thanks for holding, Andy, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Andy.
Hi. Jeff, there's so much in this whole affair to unpack. The two pieces I'd like to deal with is the attitude of the media and the Democratic Party towards the assassination attempts. And I want to touch briefly on the security situation concerning President Trump. And this, what I'm about to read to you, this was a comment I made to a Facebook friend who wrote a rather outstanding post on this whole affair. And I want to make clear, I well understand that this does not speak of all Democrats. This is intended specifically to speak to the situation as it is right now with the party. So here it goes. When our soldiers put on the uniform, they pledge to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The Democrats, moonbats, have one of two choices. Either pull back from this madness and do it now and denounce all political violence, or they are indicating by their actions that they are domestic enemies of the Constitution of the United States and cannot be regarded as our fellow citizens.
Well, you know, Andy, look, I think it's very, very powerful. And I agree with you 1,000%. This is the problem, though. Ever since, at a minimum, 2020. In fact, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but I went on X yesterday, and here's what I said. I said, remember, the Democrats are the party of the Confederacy. Never forget that. They were the party of secession. They were the party that started the Civil War. In a nutshell, I'm kind of oversimplifying for clarity's sake. The Civil War was really a war, yes, between the North and the South. It was also a war between Republicans and Democrats. That's what it really was. And so the Democrats were the party of the South, of the Confederacy, later, by the way, of the Klan, and all of the lynchings, the violence, the terror that took place across the South as they terrorized not just blacks, these were Republican blacks that they were terrorizing. So they sparked a civil war once. They have been about violence since at least the Civil War. This is in the DNA of the Democratic Party. They were the ones who in 2020 openly supported, openly defended, openly appeased and coddled Black Lives Matter and Antifa as they rioted, burned, looted, plundered, murdered, maimed police officers, and literally burned city after city to the ground. Kamala Harris supported a bail fund. This is undeniable. Joe Biden backed BLM so much, he said, you will have a seat at my table if I win in 2020. And that bail fund released murderers and rapists who went on to murder and rape again. This is Kamala Harris. So they have been supporting political violence and political terrorism going back at least 150 years. So this is who and what the Democrats are. Everyone? No. But most of them, many of them, yes. No question. In fact, look, I'm going to be brutally honest with you like I'm in the confessional. If we didn't live in such a sick, deranged age that we live in, the Democratic Party would be considered a domestic terrorist organization. They just would. Because they constantly champion violence. They constantly champion domestic terror. From BLM, again, from the Civil War, to Black Lives Matter, to Antifa, to the Klan, I could go on and on. So what they're doing now is the most vile, despicable tactic of all. What they're really saying is, we are giving you the green light to murder Donald Trump. That's what they're really saying. They're calling him Hitler. They're calling him a dictator in waiting. They're calling him a white supremacist. They're demonizing you, me, all of his supporters. And what they're really saying is kill him. Kill him. Because if he wins in November, it's all over. There'll be no more elections. There'll be no more constitution. There'll be no more country. As Joe Biden said, he is an existential threat to freedom, to democracy, to America itself. So, this is the Democrats. Now, and the media is a mouthpiece of the Democratic Party. That's all it is. It's not a media. It's simply the communications arm of the Democratic Party. And here you have a man who bought everything that they said, hook, line, and sinker. You look at Ryan Ruth's social media posts, all he's doing is repeating Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. He's openly saying, democracy is on the ballot. Trump must be stopped at all costs. And by God, he tried to stop Trump at all costs. So their rhetoric, their lies, their propaganda, their climate of hysteria, panic porn, and fear-mongering, their dangerous, reckless rhetoric is what has gotten us now to this point. And to show you what a sicko this guy is, he wrote a book, self-published book, February 2023 it was published. I want to read an excerpt from this book. And you really now get to see the Democrat mindset. This is what he wrote, okay? He talks about John Kerry and the Iran deal under Obama. This is what he says, quote, I would like to celebrate the amazing work of John Kerry that very humbly and humanly handled the Iran deal, which elated me and the whole of the world. I must take part of the blame, and forgive me for the language, because I find it despicable, because I have special needs. Some of my kids are special needs as well, so I can't stand this word, but I want to quote him directly, okay? So I apologize. I must take part of the blame, man enough to say that I misjudged and made a terrible mistake, and Iran, I apologize. You are free to assassinate Trump, as well as me, for that error in judgment and the dismantling of the deal. No one here in the United States seems to have the balls to put natural selection to work, or even unnatural selection. I am further saddened by the incompetency of the current negotiators to bring the deal back to life, blah, 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 blah. Now, the point is this, Andy, okay? He apparently voted for Trump in 2016, this guy Ryan Ruth. He says it was the biggest mistake of his life. He then became a staunch, fanatical Democrat. Since 2019, all he's done is donate to Democratic candidates and progressive causes. He voted for Biden in 2020. He is a staunch Biden-Harris supporter, even has a sticker on his pickup truck. He's openly inviting the Ayatollahs, who already have a fatwa on Trump's head and that of his entire family. Kill him. Kill him. If you want, I'll kill him for you. If you want, even kill me. But just kill him. That's the mind of a Bill in Sudbury. That's the mind of a Chris in Gloucester or a Frank in Gloucester. This is the mind of a Ben in North Andover. A self-hating American who would rather partner and collude with our own mortal enemies. And Iran is a mortal enemy of the United States. This is literally a regime and its supporters that chant death to America on the streets day after day after day. Since they came to power in 1979, their single goal is death to America, death to Israel. That's it. That's it. That's what they live for. That's what they breathe for. That's the purpose of the entire regime. So, either he's working with the CIA or he's working with foreign powers like Iran. And Iran has said they want Trump dead. They said it. They're interfering in the election. China's interfering in the election to make sure that Trump loses. And he is saying, I am willing to work with a terrorist nation and an evil, genocidal, jihadist regime to kill the president of the United States, Donald Trump. This guy is a traitor through and through. But I'll be very honest with you. If you want to know who I blame him, of course. But I really blame the people who are inciting him. And I want to play this cut for all of you. You need to hear this. This is Hillary Rodham Clinton. The day after the second assassination attempt. It's now 2 attempts on Trump's life. The first one missed him by a millimeter. Blood all over his face. The second one, the guy had an AK-style rifle with a scope that he says he was going to pump Trump up with full of bullets. Okay, it would have been a slaughter. Hillary Clinton goes on the Rachel Madcow show. You want to talk about propaganda, despicable propaganda? That's Rachel Madcow. And calls Trump a dictator, quote unquote, a dictator who cannot, her words, cannot be allowed to come to power because this country cannot endure the harm that he would do. All of our freedoms, gone. Everything this country stands for, gone. And then she says this. You want to know how evil they are? Here it is. Roll cut 26, Mike.
I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because the Russians are unlikely, except in a very few cases, to ever stand trial in the United States. You know, they're not going to be going to a country where they can be extradited or even returning to the United States unless they are very foolish. So I think we need to uncover all of the connections and make it very clear that you can vote however you want, but we are not going to let adversaries, whether it is Russia, China, Iran, or anybody else, basically try to influence Americans as to how we should vote in picking our leaders.
Okay, now, what she's saying is Tucker Carlson is a propagandist for Trump. Put him in jail. That's what she's really saying. She says, I'm not going to, put all of you that vote for Trump in jail. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Put 80, 85, 90 million Americans in jail? There's not that, you can't build that many prisons. The only logical thing to do then would be to kill them. Literally, that's it. You have to put us in concentration camps and kill us. But so what she's saying is, no. Those in the media, those around Trump that support him, well, then you're aiding and abetting a dictatorship. You're aiding and abetting the overthrow of of American democracy. So she says, you don't just go after Trump, you have to go after his so-called propagandists. So I'm telling you what she's saying is, Tucker's got to go to jail. Jesse Waters has to go to jail. Laura Ingraham has to go to jail. Jeff Kuhner has to go to jail. Mark Levin has to go to jail. Dan Bongino has to go to jail. In other words, you've got to decapitate the intelligentsia. The intellectuals, the public intellectuals, the public commentators that defend Trump and MAGA and the America First movement. Them, we have to say it's a crime. And either we fine you to the bankruptcy till you're penniless, homeless, or, as she put it in some cases, criminally. Put them behind bars. Lock them up. Now, that's one of the icons of the Democratic Party. That's one of the leaders of the Democratic Party. She spoke at the convention and gave a full-throated endorsement of Commie Kamala. This is the Clintons. Now, that's the kind of evil we're up against. That's why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has defected. That's why Tulsi Gabbard has defected. That's why Elon Musk has defected. I could go on and on. Traditional liberal Democrats, progressive Democrats are saying, hey, look, we may disagree with Trump and conservatives and constitutionalists. We don't agree with them on everything, far from it. But this is so out of bounds. These people have so abandoned the Constitution. They have so abandoned the basic norms of democracy. This is a Marxist communist party led by Marxist communist political thugs. To the point now that they're openly championing the assassination and the murder of their political opponents. And even that now is not enough. Lock up the public intellectuals. They're big supporters. They're big aides. People that really back them in the media. Throw their asses in jail. And watch, pretty soon it's going to be kill them too. I'm just telling you, that's a fact. So, this is who we are. This is where we are. I'm sorry, but there's no sugarcoating this. The Democratic Party has always been a party of political violence and political terrorism. And they tore this country apart. And as I said last night on X, if they kill Donald Trump, God forbid, if they succeed in their assassination attempts, they started one civil war. They may spark another civil war. Now, it's time that independents open their eyes. It's time that all Republicans open their eyes. It's time that all Americans open their eyes. This is not a normal election. We're not dealing with a normal party anymore. You know, if Trump is as bad as they say he is, this should be a slam dunk for the Democrats. He's wrong on trade. This is why. He's wrong on the border. This is why. He's wrong on the economy or inflation. This is why. He's wrong on Russia. This is why. But they're not arguing that. What they're arguing is threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy, which is wink, 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 kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. When you have to resort to this kind of fear-mongering, this kind of out-and-out political hatred, it's because you are bankrupt. You're bankrupt of ideas. You're morally bankrupt. You are bankrupt as a party. This is the most important election of our lives, and maybe one of the most important in our nation's history. Vote Trump, for God's sake. 9:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Let's go to Raymond in Arlington. Thanks for holding, Raymond, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Raymond.
I love you in a non-sexual way. Some guy that just said he had a gun for Joe Biden. Now, we can't even protect this other guy, Trump. President Trump, you got to remember to say that, because obviously they're just looking at him as a man instead of a past president. The other thing I'd like to bring up is the overall election. It really doesn't matter because they stole the last one. They'll probably steal this one. What you really need is, 300 Americans of all nationalities, right? And really just standing up and doing the right thing and getting rid of these people legally, right? So you got to go in, pretty much write them out, get them out. That's the only way you're going to do it.
Well, Raymond, my sense is this, and of course you may disagree with me. The two assassination attempts are signs of weakness. They're not signs of strength. If they were convinced that they could easily steal the election, then they wouldn't be trying to kill him. Because they're looking at their internal polls, and she's in big trouble. She's deep, deep underwater. She's in big trouble. And it's no coincidence. There's a couple of things that just really stand out. It's not a coincidence. After Trump destroyed Biden in the debate was the first assassination attempt. He then clearly beats Kamala, according to all the polls, in terms of getting voters. He's getting a huge swing now of undecided voters because she's that bad. And now they try a second assassination attempt. Arizona is gone now for Kamala Harris. It's gone. Nevada is practically gone. So, and Trump now, look, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, a Democrat, he was almost the pick to be the VP. In fact, he was the pick until the Hamas wing essentially vetoed it and said, no, we're not going to allow you because he's Jewish. He's a pro-Israel Jewish American. They said, no, we're not going to allow you to pick him. Josh Shapiro came out and said if the election was held today, Trump would win Pennsylvania. Well, I'm telling you, that's already enough. He's won. Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, this thing is over. And North Carolina, he's ahead. So even if she takes Georgia, which she won't, even if she takes Michigan, which she won't, even if she takes Wisconsin, Trump is still winning. I mean, it's a slight win in the Electoral College, but he's got the majority. So the problem they have, Raymond, is I don't think they can manufacture enough votes. They also have a second problem, and that's, I think, the real crisis of the regime now. No one is going to believe that she wins. If they somehow do manufacture all these ballots enough to put her over the top, no one is going to believe it. You have to make the steal plausible. In 2020, they did with COVID, the way the media sold Joe Biden as Scranton Joe and middle of the road moderate Democrat and yada, yada, yada. You can't sell Kamala Harris. The woman is to the left of Lenin. She's the most radical leftist that has ever run for president of the United States. She's Bernie Sanders in pantsuits. That's what she is. So it's almost, I mean, look, in Pennsylvania, Trump is killing her on the fracking issue. He's killing her. I'm going to play the cuts. Raymond, I really want you to listen. After the break, she did an interview with a Philadelphia reporter. Now remember, Philadelphia is the ball game for the Democrats. If they don't win Philadelphia big, they can't win Pennsylvania. It was a local reporter. It was a disaster. I'll play the cuts. You're not going to believe it. She was horrible. Absolutely horrible. The woman is dumb as a box of rocks. So it's a pig. You can put lipstick on the pig. You can put eyeshadow on the pig. You can dress up the pig. A pig is a pig is a pig. You can't sell a pig. And I think, Raymond, that's their big problem right now. And hence, and that's what the Trump family believes. And they're saying, hence, it's the ultimate plan B. Kill him. Raymond, final word to you.
No, I agree with you on that sense. But again, I mean, what are you going to do? They're going to steal it regardless. So you got to have people in place. Yes, we can do that. Have people at polls. I'm not really sure if that's going to work. So what is the end all be all? What happens after they steal it? What are we going to do? We're going to sit there like we did last time. So I'm not really sure how this is all going to end.
My fear, Raymond, and I'm talking to you now like I'm in the confessional, is that they're going to steal it. And it's going to be such an obvious steal that over half the country is not going to accept it. And I think either we're going to slide towards some kind of social chaos and political violence, God forbid, or I think you may see many red states say, to hell with you. Bye. We're gone. We're leaving. We're seceding. Meaning we don't recognize the legitimacy of this regime. They're playing with serious fire, Raymond. That's why my advice to the Democrats and to the left, let it go. Let it go. Let Trump win. Trust me, the alternative is worse. They can't sell her. I'm telling you, that's their problem. They can't sell Kamala. 9:32 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Okay, this took place late last week, Friday. It would have been actually the biggest story in the country, except for the assassination attempt, obviously, which blew everything else off the news cycle. But I just want to play a little bit. Go to the phone lines. A couple lines are open if you want to jump on. 617-266-6868. Now, this is a softball interview. It's a local reporter, ABC News, very super friendly, as we saw in the debate, to Kamala Harris. And it's a local reporter, Philadelphia reporter. Remember, Philadelphia is everything now. If the Democrats don't take Philadelphia big, they can't take Pennsylvania, which is pretty much the election. Okay, that's the ball game. He asks her the most obvious question. What are the two specific things you're going to do to lower prices? Okay, inflation may be the number one issue in the country. Okay, the economy, inflation. Listen to her response. It's a disaster. Roll cut 3, Mike.
At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers, and I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn.
Okay, who cares? Okay, first of all, it's a lie. Okay, even this non-answer is a lie. She wasn't brought up in a middle-class family. I've talked about this many times. She was brought up in a privileged family. Her two parents were PhDs. They were professors. She grew up in Berkeley and then in Westmount, Montreal, one of the wealthiest areas in the entire country. Okay, so that's a lie, but let that go. What are the two specific things you're going to do? There's no answer. There's no answer. I grew up in a middle-class home. We got our first house when I was 18. Everybody in our neighborhood took care of their lawn. Who cares? What are you going to do to bring down prices? She can't answer the question. So he then says, well, could you give me some specifics? Listen now to this. Roll cut 3A, Mike.
And I was raised to believe in
Bullcrap.
and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business.
Bullcrap. You see, it's the same thing. It's just BS. You know what I really want to say? She's a BSer. This is pure BS. You should see the interviewer's face. He's stunned. He's like, you still don't have an answer to this most basic of all questions? You can't name me. So she has no policy specifics whatsoever. In fact, if you notice, okay, this is the game. I'll give you her entire campaign away right here. Her convention speech was about 40 minutes. If you notice in the debate with Trump, it was her convention speech rehashed. Every answer she gives, like this one, it's the convention speech rehashed. So what she is she's a tape, a 40-minute tape. That's all she can memorize. That's all she's got in between her, her two ears in that empty head of hers. And she just repeats it and repeats it and repeats it and repeats it. And it doesn't matter what the question is. So she has no policy. She's got nothing except maybe wage and price controls. But she won't really talk about that because everybody knows that price controls will lead to chronic food shortages. So, okay, we're going to tax unrealized capital gains, which will decimate the economy. Okay, well, we're going to impose a $5 trillion tax cut, which will wipe out the middle and working class. So all her ideas are completely destructive. So instead, it's word salad, bull crap, horse crap, piled upon more bull crap, piled upon more horse crap. It was a disaster. Even liberals said it was a disaster. Even the local ABC News affiliate said it was a disaster. Even in Philadelphia, which is a Democratic stronghold, they're like, are you serious? Like, you think we're that stupid? So, you don't have a plan. You're not going to reduce our grocery bills. You're not going to reduce our food prices. You're not going to reduce what we're paying at the pump. You're not going to reduce our energy bills. Nothing. You don't have a plan to curtail and curb inflation because you caused the inflation. You created this mess and you have no idea how to get out of this mess. This is her problem in a nutshell. And then the assassination attempt happened. And Sandy was dead on yesterday. After the show, she said, look, Jeff, it's pretty obvious. She had another disastrous interview. It was a pure, unmitigated disaster. They can't sell her. Period. So now they got to kill him. It's really, honestly, it's very easy. It's not complicated. You know, is it the deep state? Is it Homeland Security? Is it Secret Service? Is it a mole? Are they spying on him? Yes, that's all fascinating and interesting and important. But at its very core, it can't be simpler than this. You can't sell her. The woman can't even do a 10-minute interview on a super friendly local affiliate ABC News, for God's sake. So she doesn't have the most basic answers to the simplest and easiest questions. As they say in the South, this dog don't hunt. That's why they have to kill him. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Rob in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Rob, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. It's a privilege to speak with you again.
Thank you, Rob.
Jeff, 7 months ago, I spoke with you on your show, and I said to you, if they can't bankrupt them and they can't put them in jail, they're going to kill them. And that's exactly what's taking place. The problem that I have is that Trump needs to stop to play the victim, like he did for one day, and everybody circled the wagons. And I can't understand for the life of me why his advisors aren't telling him, shut your mouth with the rhetoric. Don't make the faces. Don't call the names. Play the victim, because everyone has sympathy for the victim. Now, this is the second attempt. Now, one thing I have to say, I don't believe that this is a conspiracy with the CIA or anything like that. I think you got some deranged individuals, and there are a lot of deranged individuals for a lot of reasons, political rhetoric being one of them. But the reason I say that, I competed as an expert marksman for years. And if this was the CIA, the weapon of choice would be different than what the weapons that they have seized already. They just wouldn't use those because they're not accurate long-range weapons. However, I think that if Trump is to use this situation as a victim and to talk about why people are coming after him, because he's against what has been done to this country. You know, I mean, the fact of the matter is, this president and his administration, they're not the smartest bulbs in the pack. And as evidence, I would point to the fact that Biden appointed the former governor of Rhode Island as the Commerce Secretary. All right, here's a woman. Now, I live in Rhode Island. She kept saying cranes in the sky, cranes in the sky. I'm a construction inspector. There's no cranes in the sky. She botched the pension system. Everything she touched turned into you-know-what. And he hired her, right? Then you talk about the rhetoric. You have rhetoric from her. You have rhetoric from Maxine Waters, from Chuck Schumer, from Harris, from Biden. So that's going to get people into a mood to doing something foolish, right? And I think we're at a critical point in the United States history that we have these people that are incompetent that are running the show. And I just pray to God that Trump's advisors, turn him around, and he needs to play to the people that haven't made the decision yet. His base is his base. He can say anything he wants. His base is always going to support him. But I got to say this, Jeff, there's one thing that I'm really afraid of.
Rob, please hold that thought. I'm up against a hard break. I want to come back to you, take more calls. 617-266-6868. Don't touch that dial. 950 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Okay, let's go right back to Rob in Rhode Island. He was on fire. He's a big Trump supporter, but he says he's worried about one thing. Then we got cut off. Please, Rob, pick up where you left off.
Yes, Jeff. I read Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. And what really concerned me was when he agreed to do this ABC setup interview without countering to have an additional venue of his choice. And I think that was a big mistake. And I think what is a bigger mistake now is not to go after Harris and challenge her to yet another debate, especially after the second attempt. He needs to look like, instead of him going away and saying, hey, I won the debate, and walk away, if he thinks that he has her down, while she's down, pummel her until she can't get back up, so everybody will now know the fake Kamala as you and I and all your listeners do know her. But I think he can't walk away from another debate. He's got to force that debate. And I think that will be the turning point. And I thank you so much for your time, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Rob. Let me ask all of you, and we'll definitely continue this discussion. Should he agree? Because NBC News is interested in maybe doing a debate, which would mean, again, the Lion's Den. NBC News, look, it's Lester Holt. I played the clip of him earlier blaming Trump for the assassination attempt. So you're looking at, Kristen Welker of Meet the Mess. You're talking about some real serious, hardcore anti-Trump assassins. So it'll be a repeat of the ABC News debate, basically 3-on-1. Should he agree to NBC News, or should he try to push for more neutral ground? I don't know, maybe Fox News or something like that. Just want to throw that out there. Mike in Andover. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
They're desperate, Jeff. They're desperate. Can you hear me?
Oh, Mike, I hear you. Look, that, to me, there's no question. Look,
they're gonna have
if they're going to steal the election, Mike, if you were going to steal an election and you knew it was in the bag, would you be trying to assassinate your opponent? You'd be like, the last thing we need is an assassination. You say, leave the guy alone. We're going to steal this thing and declare victory like we did in 2020. Am I wrong, Mike?
Well, in a way, because they have to manufacture 110 million votes. And I don't know if they can do that. They manufactured 81 million. I have three people here that believe Biden got 81 million, but not Larry in the warehouse, and I know Larry's listening. They'd have to manufacture 110 million votes. They're desperate. Their lives are at stake. Their very lives are at stake. I believe that. They know what's going to happen to them if he gets in.
Mike, do you think 2 assassination attempts, one, maybe a coincidence, but 2 in a row? Do you believe it was an inside job?
I believe both of them were inside jobs, and they're not done. And I don't believe they're done. God is protecting him these times, and I keep praying for him. That you've seen 2 miracles right in front, especially the first one. I mean, come on. The bullet grazed his ear, you know what I'm saying? But they are so desperate, nothing is off the table. That's what I fear. Oh, that's a question I have for you. If, God forbid, anything happens to Trump, does Vance automatically become the nominee?
Yes.
Wonderful. But they might hit him too. Who the hell knows?
Well, that's my fear. I think they're. You're right. Look, if they, God forbid, okay, I didn't want to think it, but let's just say they succeed. Okay, let me just say it. Vance becomes the nominee. I don't know. I mean, Mike, I got to tell you, Vance to me would be just as tough as Trump. So I think they'd have to take care of him too. I mean, how far are they willing to go, Mike? Mike, you're asking the question that everybody's thinking but is afraid to ask. And I want to thank you for your call. Nancy, that's why what they're doing is, it's so irresponsible. It's so reckless. It's not even funny. Nancy in Framingham. Thanks for holding, Nancy, and welcome.
Jeff, good morning.
Hi, Nancy.
Listen, why doesn't it, first of all, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it stinks like a duck. They're both inside jobs. That's number one. Number two, I think Trump is a little bit reckless. Why doesn't he hire his own army. He has the resources. He has the money. Ask Jan Bongino to come in on board. I'm sure that he would love to do that. And as far as another debate, the only way that he should go on as a debate is on his terms and not their terms. Either Newsmax or Fox News. Otherwise, forget it. That's what I think should happen. And I think he's a little bit. He does some stupid things sometimes. I really think so. He could have done much better with the debate. He falls for the debate all the time. He should have known better. There is no excuse for what happened. The fact that he was able to eke out a little bit of a win is a miracle.
Well, that's the thing, Nancy. It's miracle after miracle after miracle. And look, I don't want to get anybody's guard down. I don't want us to get too overconfident. I don't want to say this thing is predetermined, because nothing in life is predetermined. But I'm starting to say, I think God wants Trump to win. I mean, I want to be, blasphemous and speak on behalf of God, but I'm saying there's something going on here. The hand of God. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Okay, I gotta go. Great show. Outstanding calls. Bye-bye.